Hi, welcome to Off Script. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Today on the show, we are taking a look at Project Hail Mary from writer Andy Weir and directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller, Lego Movie directors, 21 Jump Street directors. Big hit here. Very excited to talk about Project Hail Mary. Believe in the Hail Mary. We're going to take a look at A24's The Drama. This is from Dream Scenario director Kristoffer Borgli. We covered that movie a couple years ago with Nick Cage. Odd film. Odd rom-com starring Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. Maybe kind of a hit, though. Low-key. There's something cool happening in the drama. It's actually... I know it kind of looks like it's supposed to be bigger than it is, and maybe it is. A quick micro review of Ready or Not 2. We saw the first film, Ready or Not, in 2019. Hard to believe it came out that long ago. This is from the Radio Silence directors who did Scream 7, the guys who did Abigail. They are back. Samara Weaving, Kathryn Newton, big blood, big gore. It's a whole thing. Andy caught it. He's going to tell us about it towards the end of the show. We're going to take a look at some upcoming trailers. We got trailers for Spider-Man, Brand New Day, the live-action Moana, The End of Oak Street, Supergirl, Backrooms. We got news to get to, a ton of stuff. Before we get to everything, just a quick programming note from me. And this is kind of odd, but I wanted to say, the past few weeks on the show here, Off Script, have been some of our most successful so far. We've had a particular run of luck with views and content, and I don't know, something seems to be happening, right? The snowball's moving. But just in the last couple of weeks, we took a short, unexpected hiatus, and that's due to me. I had a family emergency. It was a whole big thing, still kind of is. Andy was super kind to give me some space and work that out. I received some messages from some people who watched the show about what's going on. I just wanted to say, hey, thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. I am very much looking forward to getting back to the movies with y'all and watching stuff with y'all. So that's it. We're kind of through the woods, and now we're going to get back on with our regular schedule. Summer's going to be great. The movies are hot, and here on Off Script, we're going to keep doing it. So thank you for watching and listening, and thanks for the kind words. Y'all are the best. We should jump into the news. Our first story this week, Dune Part 3 IMAX tickets have gone on sale, and oh my God, nobody can get these things. Some people got them, but not Andy and I. What is this? What is this viral marketing thing, Andy? What happened?
So we first saw this actually with the Odyssey last summer, and it's a great PR trick, and it works really well. Dune Part 3 IMAX tickets went on sale just briefly. I think it was just yesterday. And I got word about 30 minutes before they would go on sale. And within 30 seconds, they were all gone. But they weren't completely all gone because they were doing they had one showing available a day, which was like the 7 p.m. on like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Thursday through Sunday, basically. The one showing, the 7 p.m. showing. And so that one showing sold out on each day. When the movie comes out, there's going to be like 20 showings over that period of time. So it is a bit of a gimmick, but it means the trades and the news outlets can say, Dune 3 tickets sell out instantly, and it's a great PR headline. And it's worked brilliantly. Like I said, the Odyssey did this last summer. They're like, get your Odyssey tickets. And again, it was literally one showing, like one 7 p.m. showing, sold out instantly, of course. There's going to be way more. Like, they have the screens for 3 weeks. Like, you're going to be able to get in and see it.
Normally, I'm somebody who's like big pro going to the movies, even like odd stuff, weird events, the Taylor Swift concert movie. Like, as long as it gets people in seats and in cinemas, I think it's a good thing. That being said, and I don't just want to, I'm not sour grapes just because I didn't get a ticket. All right, that's not it. I know people are going to say that's it, but real talk, this viral strategy thing sucks. This is like AMC trying to sell tickets like by seating row and charging you more because they want it to be like a concert. Like, I don't think we should start doing this thing where we start selling out tickets immediately and making short-term announcements. And you better follow at IMAX on Twitter and keep notifications on to see if that all sucks. That all sucks. I don't like this thing where we're putting up limited sales and you better get them fast. Like we this is our bread and butter is movie stuff. All right. I didn't hear anything about this. I heard it from Andy, who saw it on Twitter like a half hour before. That's it. If you didn't catch it in that window, you missed it. And then you got to look at 2 days of headlines that say, you missed it and it didn't happen. Yeah, you can do what we're doing and feel a little better and be like, well, at least I'll get it eventually. But also, like, man, we saw Hail Mary opening night 70 millimeter. It's like 7:00 show. Wasn't hard to get tickets. Like, that worked out. Why are Odyssey and Dune getting sold out way far ahead? Because it's a gimmick. And I'm not into it. I'm not into that gimmick. I don't like it. What do you think, Andy?
I mean, it like I said, it's a great PR stunt. I've seen it posted everywhere. People making reaction videos is so unfair. They're so hard to see. Again, people are not noticing the details that it's literally for one showing of the day and not like all 5 showings that will be available. Like there will be more showings, of course, but some people are up in arms. Anyways, it's a great strategy. It works as long as there are really. I've seen people trying to scalp them. Like I saw someone posted a ticket their seat for $2,100. You know,
banned from the IMAX, which would be impossible. But I mean, come on, it's a mess. Yeah, people are scalping tickets. We got to talk about this Lord of the Rings movie. Anything else on Dune?
No, I'm ready to go.
All right, Lord of the Rings. Stephen Colbert is co-writing a new Lord of the Rings movie. The Lord of the Rings. Sorry, this is not the Andy Serkis movie, The Lord of the Rings: Hunt for Gollum, which is currently in development from director Andy Serkis. This is a new, different thing, but I guess this is what he's going to be doing since he's getting kicked off The Late Show. Thank you, CBS. What do you know about this, Andy?
So yeah, the strangest headline that Stephen Colbert of the Today Show, whose show is ending in May, is going to be writing a film to go as part of the Lord of the Rings universe. And he is a certified like Tolkien expert and connoisseur, big Lord of the Rings fan. But he's going to be writing this movie that's tentatively titled Lord of the Rings: Shadow of the Past, and is going to cover some of the chapters that were left out of the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. So it's kind of doing the Star Wars things where like we're not adding on, we're adding a branch off what you already know. So that's all we know. So the story is out there. It's not anything like new and original. But at the same time, it's still kind of bizarre. Also, this is the second Lord of the Rings movie that's kind of in development. The other one is The Hunt for Gollum, which is going to take place between the Hobbit trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy of films. That's already in development and kind of pretty far along that page, but just kind of a strange story. It could be interesting.
It's so weird. Like, I know they really want to get more like Lord of the Rings content out, right? Amazon was running like Rings of Power, which was like kind of a hit in its first season and then kind of fell off. And they did, New Line did War in the Rohirrim, which was that animated film that came out last year, which was all right. Did you cover that, Andy? Did you see that?
I did. I
did.
I don't think you covered it on the show, but I did see it.
Like, yeah, they're trying to get 2 films kind of off the ground now. Hunt for Gollum with Andy Serkis, and then this film with Colbert. The big question for me is like, where's Peter Jackson, right? Where's the guy who made the first 3 and then made the Hobbit films after Guillermo del Toro backed out, which got pulled out into 3 things? Like, what's he doing? Well, he is working kind of on these, but like in a kind of cursory way. He is going to be working with Colbert on his film, along with Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, who were the Oscar-winning trio who made the original films. Like, so they're going to be collaborating with Colbert. I think they're also collaborating with Serkis, so like they'll kind of be in there. He's not doing films, as far as I know, because of the death of his longtime cinematographer. I forget his name, Andrew something or other. He passed away, and since then, I think he passed away in 2015. Since then, Jackson just hasn't wanted to do any. So he's been doing like documentaries, right? And the Let It Be, Get Back, the Beatles thing, right? And They Shall Not Grow Old. Not directing, but definitely still a part of these, which says that these are going to be effectively films that feel like they fit in with those. I guess not so much Rings of Power, even though those do kind of tie into Middle Earth. It's all one universe. It's just coming from a lot of different places.
Yeah, I don't know how this will be received is the thing. Like, is there still an appetite for these Lord of the Rings films? I hear the Rings of Power show isn't really doing that well on Amazon Prime. I think there's one more season of that. This is a very millennial property. I don't know how it's going to appeal to younger viewers, newer viewers. Are you going to get them back in, Gen Z, Gen Alpha? Are you going to get them in the seats for this thing? I don't know, man. Seems like a bit of a gamble.
It is. Elijah Wood strongly hinted he'll be back in this feature. Like, we'll see. In Andy Serkis's Hunt for Gollum feature, Andy Serkis will be reprising the role of Gollum. Kate Winslet is in an undisclosed role. They just said that Viggo Mortensen is not coming back as Aragorn, so they got to recast him. We'll see, man. Yeah, we'll see how these things do. I'm not super confident, but man, those movies made a lot of money, so keep it here for more. Scream 8 is happening. Oh no, they said Scream 7 was going to be the last one. What a bunch of bullshit. What do you know about this, Andy?
So on the heels of the rousing success that is Scream 7, the biggest, highest grossing one of the entire franchise, of course, Scream 8 was going to come after the success of that. But Kevin Williamson won't be directing. He is the original kind of creator and writer of the original Scream, and came back for 7. He's going to step away from directing, but the kind of thing will continue. Nev Campbell came back for Scream 7 after skipping 6 because of a pay dispute. So she's probably going to be in 8. And I mean, they have to basically pay her whatever she asked for. They probably should have done that in 6 as well, because I mean, this franchise just continues to print money somehow. The older it gets, the more money it makes. It's going to be helmed by writers Lilla and Nora Zuckerman, who have written a lot for TV and also worked on some smaller films as well. I'm sure they'll do fine. They were show writers on Poker Face. So yeah, we're just gonna keep getting these forever. I would say until they flop, but I mean they're like flop proof.
Yeah, earlier this month, Kevin Williamson, the creator of the series and director of Scream 7, made headlines saying he'd likely won't direct Scream 8. Quote, "For the next Scream, I'll probably step back and just be part of the family again." No, listen to me. Listen to me closely. He made this thing. He directed the last movie, and it's the most successful one so far. If he wanted to do this movie, he would. But it was a critical mess, and anybody who's looking behind the scenes knows that the whole franchise is kind of upside down thanks to Spyglass's weird happenings with its last 2 stars. I don't know what they do next. I don't know where they go. I don't know what the plan is, but it's a mess. And I can appreciate that they're getting the writers of something that's kind of chaotic, like Poker Face, in to kind of make something new. I couldn't tell you where you go. Frankly, I didn't even see the last movie, and really that's probably the biggest indicator as to why I don't know what's next. But even worse, like kind of like Star Wars, man, I just don't know if I care. Like I just am kind of unplugged a little bit. Scream 5 pulled me in. Scream 6 held my hand. Scream 7 was okay. And well, I didn't see Scream 7 actually, so I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah,
I didn't see 7. I didn't see 7 either. I'm kind of over this franchise. It's got nothing left to kind of give us. It's the same gimmick every time. It's entertaining probably to the super fans, but man, I guess we'll do these until Nev Campbell dies. Like just like Jamie Lee Curtis still coming back as Laurie Strode for Michael Myers stuff.
Will Nev Campbell become a
until
Ghostface?
You're 90?
Do you think she'll die, or will she live long enough to see herself Ghostface herself?
In the last movie, she'll like start to lose her mind, and then become like unknowingly, she'll have amnesia. She'll unknowingly become Ghostface. Hire me, Hollywood. I got
it's me this whole time. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. The call is coming from inside the house. Michael, we got to talk about the Michael Jackson movie. So we have been talking for the last few weeks about whether or not Michael, the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic, which is set to come out April 24th, so this month, whether or not this movie is going to be a huge, colossal hit or just kind of a middling music bio. Its star character, obviously Michael Jackson, is a huge, colossal hit, but people are kind of tired of music biopics, and also there's some controversy towards the end of that story that might make a dust up at the box office. Regardless, this thing is tracking to make a lot of money, at least its opening weekend. I don't know if it's going to hit $1 billion, but it seems like it might be the biggest music biopic opening ever. What do you know about it, Andy?
It's going to be huge. And we were maybe foolishly thinking maybe it wouldn't be, or the controversy, or people are exactly all these reasons, but sometimes these things connect, and this is going to be one of them. It's tracking to have a $60 million opening, probably going to be even bigger than that. To put that into perspective, that's bigger than the tracking was for Project Hail Mary, which is a huge hit right now. So this looks like it's going to be even bigger than that. It's going to be bigger than Bohemian Rhapsody, which was probably the last good example of one of these movies that actually worked and made a lot of money. They've had a lot of poor attempts that really didn't. So it's going to be huge. We were totally wrong. And now it's a question of like how big this movie could be.
Yeah. The controversy around this thing is interesting for a couple of reasons. Not only because of obviously where Michael Jackson's later career ended up going, but how this movie was made. The original cut of this was like way longer, and also has a totally different third act. I think Variety or Hollywood Reporter put up such a story just this morning about it. Antoine Fuqua, director, like originally dug a lot more into Michael Jackson's later life and some allegations and some courtroom drama stuff. But that all got cut when the Jackson estate realized that they can't actually reference those specific claimants. What am I saying? Defendants, whatever the victims. They can't say their names and do represent them in a movie. That's not allowed. So they had to cut all that and move it around. Lionsgate ended up spending another like $10 or $15 million to reshoot Act 3 of this movie, which the Jackson estate paid for themselves. So now they have a share of equity in the film. But they also say that there's something like 30% of that cutting room floor footage that could be used in a follow-up film, which is nuts. As far as we know, this movie's going to end right around like when Bad comes out. I don't know exactly Michael Jackson's career, but yeah, like it's going to get out before things get clunky, and it seems bonkers that there might be a part 2 to this. But if you go looking, there's an awful lot of evidence that says there could be a follow-up. And if this thing makes something like $700 million and you've got a third of a movie already sitting there, I don't know. I think it might be worth trying to go back to the well. Like the idea of a part 2 of Michael Jackson movie sounds crazy, but like crazier things have happened. I don't know. What do you think, Andy?
I think that we're definitely going to get a part 2, like, because this is going to make so much money. Like, it's going to be huge, and you're leaving money on the table if you don't do a follow up. I think you just they're going to background all the controversial stuff, the courts drama, the legal issues. Just try to focus on the music and the albums and like his death and whatnot. They're going to make another 700 million on part 2. So
yeah,
why not?
It's certainly going to be interesting. Also, fun fact that I learned from all this: highest grossing musical biopic ever to date so far, at least opening weekend, Straight Outta Compton made $60 million opening. And then following that is Bohemian Rhapsody, which made $51 million opening weekend. So if anybody asks, and if for some reason the Michael film doesn't clear 60 million, technically most successful music biopic opening, Straight Outta Compton. Who'd have thought? Anyway, from the box office, one quick look here. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is making all of the money. It's making all the greenbacks. Dr. Draper, how many greenbacks is it making?
It opened up huge to 190 million domestically. It did open on Wednesday to take advantage of the long Easter weekend, but it did end up making 372 million globally. So we're off to a huge start. Could be the first $1 billion movie of the year. I haven't heard great things about it. From a critic's perspective, I've heard it's worse than the first one in terms of like it's just kind of a kiddie movie. It moves really, really quickly. There's no like discernible real plot or characters or anything. It's not like a Pixar movie. It's just kind of a film for the TikTok generation, and that's just flash, flash, flash. But it's doing huge. So what can you say?
Yeah, my favorite review of it is probably from Big Picture's Amanda Dobbins, who said she felt bad for taking her 4-year-old to see it. Because it was like watching Coco Melon or something. Like her kid's just like phasing out of reality and getting this like slack-jawed, dumbfounded look on their face, looking at like lights and colors. I've heard it doesn't have a lot of character, but despite critical reception, boy, it's sure making a ton of money anyway. It's a shame. Like I remember thinking the first film was like definitely like baby movie for babies, but at least it was pretty solid all the way through. It didn't ring hollow when you knocked on it. And I feel like every adult that has gone to see this thing has told me, don't waste your time. If you have kids, go take the kids. They'll have a good time. But like, no, go see anything else. I'm glad it's making money. Maybe not promising for anybody older who's really interested in Nintendo stuff. I guess we're gonna wait for that live action Legend of Zelda movie from Maze Runner director Wes Ball, right? He's gonna get it all figured out in 2027, I think.
That is something that I had heard on a different show, was that Super Mario Brothers is like the most recognizable Nintendo property, and so that's the one they're going to play it the most safe with, and they might take a little bit more risk on something like the live action Zelda, or if they ever get around to doing Metroid and Samus, that would be a great character. Some of their other maybe a little bit lesser iconic properties might be where they take some risks, but not on the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Moving on, Project Hail Mary, which is in its third week, made another $30 million domestic, $420 million globally. That's on its way to being a big hit. The drama, which we'll be talking about here shortly, opened to 14 million over the weekend and 28 million globally, which is, I think it's what its budget was. So it's made back its budget. It's a hit of a smaller kind. It's a much smaller movie, but also doing really well. Hoppers continues to do really well with another 5 million for 332 million globally, and reminders of him, the
Colleen Hoover
Hoover book slop, another 2.2 million, and nearing 80 million globally. So a big hit there as well.
Big weekend at the movies. I'm glad drama's doing okay. Like I didn't think it was going to do that good, but it just goes to show, man, you put Zendaya and Robert Pattinson in a movie, like it's gonna pull some eyes, right? Like especially from a younger demographic. So yeah, exactly. Not too bad for a film that's got like a B cinema score. I'm excited to talk about it. We got to get to Hail Mary. God, I feel like I'm way behind on this thing, but I'm excited to talk about it. Any other thoughts on the box office before we jump into it?
I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to be taking the review, so please excuse any funny delivery. The film is Project Hail Mary. It's been a couple weeks since Hail Mary came out, and while we didn't get to review it right away when it did come out, I'm excited to talk about it now because it's a film that's kind of difficult to recommend. I've told people I really liked it and that they would like it too, that they should go check it out. But when I tell people about it, they say, isn't that the Ryan Gosling movie where he's like alone? Or there's like an alien thing? I heard it's like E.T. It's not a sequel. It's not a part of a franchise thing. What's it about? What's going on in it? Is it worth my time? And I'm looking forward to telling you that I do think that it is, but that the story in Hail Mary kind of reflects the way it got made. It's a long shot film, right? It's something you got to believe in. The story in Hail Mary is Ryland Grace, a scientist, wakes up on a ship very far away from planet Earth and having no memory of how he got there. And slowly, as he puts the pieces together of why he's on this ship, why he's far from home, and ultimately what he's supposed to be doing, he begins to realize that there's a lot more going on in the universe than he previously thought. He meets an alien and has a whole thing with it. He has to do some heroic stuff. And while doing that, put some flashbacks together in his head of what's going on and ultimately what this great mission he's on is for and why it's so much bigger than just him. And hopefully whether or not he can get home, maybe with his alien friend in tow. It is a film that we didn't know was going to do well or not. It's based on a book by Andy Weir, who formerly wrote The Martian, which got adapted into a film starring, Andy, help me out here.
God, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, yes. From screenwriter Drew Goddard, the two of them teamed together on this. Comes from directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who've taken a few years between doing films after they unceremoniously got kicked off Solo by Lucasfilm, and this kind of feels a bit of like a revenge film for that. It's from, Dune cinematographer Greg Fraser. It's from composer Daniel Pemberton. Amazon spent $200 million on a film, not knowing whether or not it was going to do good, and put it in theaters. And now, 2 weeks later, we can see that it has. It's done great, and we're really excited to talk about it. But when I tell people about it, it's still difficult for them to get into or not. So with all that said, and way too long of an intro, I'm looking forward to talking about it. Andy, I read the book. You did not. What did you think of Project Hail Mary?
So I thought it was a really fun, great theatrical experience. We saw it in the big IMAX, and it looks amazing, especially on a huge screen, great sound. The IMAX stuff is really impressive. Everyone was cracking up. The movie's really funny. There's lots of jokes. There was an older couple next to me cracking up at every gag. Every single gag worked on them. I, however, did not get into the story as much as I had really hoped to. Like the crux of it is this friendship between Ryland Grace and Rocky, the rock alien, and it's supposed to be literally about the friends we made along the way. And I just could not get into it, or it didn't pull me in like I know the movie's trying to. It's supposed to really make you care about this friendship because Grace is kind of he just stays at home. He doesn't really have family or friends or anything. He doesn't have a pet. He's kind of a not a people person, and he has a hard time connecting with anyone on Earth. But he finds connection in space, and that's the story that's supposed to really grab you and pull on your heartstrings and all this stuff. And it just did not work for me at all. And I know, and if that doesn't work for you, the whole movie is not going to work for you, because then it feels like there's no sense of danger. There's no, you don't worry about, at no point, I felt like there's no stakes. It feels like everyone kind of has plot armor, and there's not, like I said, no danger. It looks beautiful, and it was a fun time in the theater because everyone loved it. I just thought it was kind of okay.
So I'm going to try to avoid saying, well, if you read the book, as much as possible here, because this isn't a review of the book. It's a review of the film, and that's what we're doing here. But I did read the book, so I do want to say briefly, the book takes like 12 hours to listen to, and the movie's like 2.5, which is long for a movie. I was surprised it was 2.5. We walked into the theater like, oh God, this thing is long. Saw it in 70mm IMAX, looked fantastic. Great IMAX presentation, Andy's right. A lot of science gets cut out from the book. That's mostly what gets cut out. The important stuff's still here, but even still, it's an unconventional plot. The first 45 minutes of the film, Rocky isn't even in. It's mostly flashbacks. It's Grace waking up on the ship, trying to figure out what's happening. These automated ship systems like talking to him and trying to take care of him and help him out while he's realizing he's like light years away from Earth. It's flashbacks to him and like Sandra Huller on Earth, like starting to put together, hey, what is this Petrova line, and how does that relate to astrophage, which is this weird bacteria that we found traveling from the sun to Venus, and how does that all? That's all a little confusing, and the movie does a good job of keeping it kind of middle school for you, so you can get excited over simple stuff. At one point, Ryan Gosling like declares like, "This thing's a cell. It's alive. It has a cell wall," and you're like, "Okay, yeah, I know what that is. That's not too big and weird." But after about 45 minutes, we get back to the ship, and we spend a lot more time with Grace when he finds this kind of derelict ship floating out in space and meets this alien. We get a bit of space horror, we get a bit of E.T., we get a bit of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 2001: A Space Odyssey, a lot of big tributes in this movie. And then from there, we get about 45 minutes of Rylan and Rocky friendship, doing their thing, learning how to communicate with one another. And then third act, we get a bit more flashbacks to Earth. We're solving our problem. We're working through our big thing. We're discovering why we've met these characters. So it's very strange. And for a movie that's so claustrophobic, effectively being like a guy that's trapped on a ship by himself, it's surprising that it's an IMAX, and it's particularly surprising that it looks so good. Like reading Hail Mary, I remember thinking this wouldn't adapt well to a book. This wouldn't work like The Martian did, because I read The Martian too. But it turns out like Phil Lord and Chris Miller spent an awful lot of time working with Andy Weir and Drew Goddard, who reteamed, just like off Martian, to adapt the book into this, trying to get something that works and is concise and you can fit it in 2.5 hours. Original working cut of the film, they said, was like nearly 4. And people they showed it to were like, you have to cut this down. This is way too long. No one cares about this. Still a little long, but oddly shaped. And that's part of the reason I'm a little surprised it's doing as well as it is. Despite big formats and people just going to see stuff, like, yeah, like Andy said, it's an oddly shaped movie. And like, that's definitely worth noting. I do want to talk about its technicals, because I think that's what the movie does best.
Right. The production of this looks like the set design and production looks really incredible. That's kind of where it shines. There are individuals, like they're not using the volume for all these sets. Like there, you can tell like they've built all this. And one of the big selling points has been that they use puppeteers for Rocky, the alien. It's not a CGI alien. There's all this behind the scenes stuff now. And they said that how much better of a performance they got from Gosling because he can act against the real people, and that's definitely part of the reason for this to go. Then this is definitely going to be like one of the first big Oscar contenders, at least on a technical side of the year.
Yeah, it's shot by Greg Fraser, who shot Dune and The Batman. He's stepping away from Dune 3 to shoot this, I think. I forget who's shooting Dune 3 now, but regardless, it's really good looking. I was reading about how he was like rotating an ARRI lens 90 degrees and like getting it fitted with this custom thing so they could shoot in IMAX formats, which is why there's like vertical lens flare in this movie, which is a thing that is not in other movies, and it's all captured in camera. There's some incredible sequences captured in camera. He loves to do this thing. If you watch a Greg Fraser movie, somebody pointed this out to me and you kind of can't unsee it when you start looking for it. He likes to shoot through stuff. So he'll put like a pane of glass with like some lights on it, and he'll shoot the camera through that at the subject. And he does a lot of that, like something in the foreground and then you can subject and something in the background. If you're watching the trailer footage that we're running on YouTube, you can see it. It happens a lot. Like just keep an eye out. People shooting over shoulders and stuff. And that gives your film a sense of like depth, and it gives your like frame a feeling of like fullness, which is quite affecting in a film that's a guy trapped in a ship. It's a bottle movie, right? Like he doesn't move around a lot, but like between flashbacks and working with Rocky, you get a really full look, especially in IMAX, like a giant format, which should not work this good for a guy that's just alone in a thing. But it really works great. Also, a special shout out to shooting the Earth stuff in digital letterboxed and shooting everything in space in IMAX. The back and forth between that is really affecting, especially since the first time they do it in the film, they do these light leaks that pass over the whole thing and give you a real sense of like passing from one time to another. I love the music of this movie. Daniel Pemberton does the score. I think that's maybe a run at Best Original Score this year as well. The editing is really tremendous, especially in those transitions, bouncing back and forth from Earth to space. The puppeteering is really great. Like Andy said, like the set design is really good. I don't know if this gets a nom for Best Picture. I don't know if it gets a nom for Best Actor for Gosling. But we've had a run of February breakouts the last few years. Sinners was a February breakout. Parasite was a February breakout. Everything Everywhere All at Once was a February, March or May, I think. Like there are films that are coming out early in the year that are getting special attention. And I think this might be the first big one to keep an eye on in 2026. Because come Oscar season, I think there might be some noms floating for Hail Mary, maybe some snubs. And we'll maybe get an idea of I don't know, where Oscar voters land on it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be in the conversation. They always have a couple of popular entries. Last year it was F1 and Avatar. So I think this will probably get in there. It'll sneak in maybe a Best Picture win. Definitely on the technical side. I wanted to talk about the score briefly by Daniel Pemberton, who did the score for the Spider-Verse films, which I really love. I initially really liked the score, and then I went back and listened, and I was like, this is just Hans Zimmer, like it's like Diet Coke Hans Zimmer. This is Interstellar Light. So I like added it to the long running soundtrack playlist, and then I removed it because I listened to it and I was like, it's just kind of okay, but it is effective in the movie. Like when it hits with the visuals, it works really well. So he's done a good job for what this kind of movie is. Like I said, it's lighthearted. It's really funny. I mean, people were laughing throughout the whole thing.
I'm really impressed at how good of a book adaptation it is too. Like, I know you didn't read it, and I don't expect people watching this to have read it, but if you did, I think you're satisfied with what's happening here. And if you go back and read the book, I think you'll be surprised at how closely it manages to follow, even by cutting about 10 hours of the book out. Like, it somehow really, I don't know, they kind of hit all the high notes. It's a great adaptation. It is a good example of like a good book to film adaptation that I'll probably be referencing in the future. Like, I don't know, Fight Club or even like The Shining, in the way that movie is like divergent. This sticks to it and manages to stick the landing. It's a lot of fun. I'd recommend it. I think I gotta get formal recommendations, but not for everybody for sure. And if anything, I'm impressed at how well it's done. I didn't know if this was going to pull off and be a hit, but it turns out when you put together like the Avengers in movie making and you spend $200 million and spend it wisely, you can turn a profit at the movies. And there's some big studios that maybe could take a lesson or two from that. Amazon hadn't had a lot of big hits, but this might be their first one. So with that, Andy, would you recommend Project Hail Mary?
Yeah, overall, I would. I think it's a great theatrical release. It was a lot of fun, especially in IMAX on the big screen. Definitely see it on the biggest screen you can. It is a little long. It's 2.5 hours. And again, it's the central friendship is the crux of the movie. That will work for some people better than others. I've recommended this to some people, and they have kind of had the same reaction as me. But overall, definitely recommend to see it in theaters.
Yeah, big recommend from me. Solid book. I think better film, in my opinion. And I've told some friends that who read the book who were like, how dare you? But like, honestly, I struggled with the book. It took me a while. When the alien shows up, I fell off the book for like 8 months because I was like, oh, this is like fantasy, alien, sci-fi stuff. Give it a chance. Give it a beat. You might just be charmed. You may also find yourself believing in the Hail Mary. And with that, we got to move on. My God, we got to talk about trailers. We got so many trailers to talk about. We've been out for a couple weeks. We got a billion trailers. I'm looking forward to talking about them. Andy, what do we call this segment?
It's time for the trailer part. So we're going to kick this off with Spider-Man Brand New Day, which came out a couple of weeks ago. Like I said, we're catching up on the show, but this was a big trailer. It's the first full release of this that we saw. We, of course, see Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jacob Batalon back in this, along with some new faces. We find Spider-Man. In the previous films, his identity had been revealed as Peter Parker, and then in the previous film, through a magic spell that had been erased, reversed, including his friends. So his friends no longer remembered he was Spider-Man. So this kind of takes us almost back to like an origin story movie a little bit, because like he re-meets Mary Jane Watson, Zendaya's character, again, kind of in the first time. So he's dealing with that of having to reconnect with his friends. He's also experienced some sort of like DNA change, and he's beginning to lose his spider powers, and oh no. And then, of course, we see some other MCU faces. Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, John Bernthal as Frank Castle, the Punisher. Also, there's rumors that an X-Men might show up on this. One Sadie Sink is rumored to be playing Jean Grey of X-Men fame. Unconfirmed yet, but that's the rumor on the street. I think this looks pretty good. Spider-Man prints money. Like, Spider-Man never goes wrong. I think this looks like a lot of fun. It's a little complicated, but even like Spider-Man is beyond a homework film. Like, no, it doesn't matter if you've seen any of the other. This could be your first Spider-Man film. It's gonna work. It always works. It looks really, really busy, but probably a lot of fun. Probably the last one of these people, Zendaya and Batalon, and I think Tom Holland. I hope it's his last one. They're all getting a little too old for these.
I was under the impression they were doing like 3 more of these and wrapping it up, but
I could be wrong.
Tom Holland was talking about a few years ago how he kind of wanted to pass the torch. He's like, I don't know how much longer I want to do Spider-Man, but then he just hasn't had any sort of career to fall back on. So put the suit on, Tom. Like, we're doing it again. And that's fine. People are saying this movie looks really good. I am not any of those people. I think this movie looks like muddy and dark, and the volume stuff looks chunky, and I'm too old for these, man. Sadie Sink showing up in the audience. I swear to God, when I'm sitting in the theater and the audience starts clapping for Jean Grey or some shit, I'm gonna freak out. I'm just gonna be like, God, like, oh God, I can't do this anymore. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm over it. I don't get excited about it the way I do. That being said, probably a great Spider-Man movie. Andy's right. These things print money. I do pretty much enjoy watching every Spider-Man movie. If I'm going to go see a Marvel movie, I should go see this one, even though it's like weird Marvel, Sony. It'll be fun. It'll be fine. It's going to make $1 billion. Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're going to cover it on the show. I'm gonna pep up. People have told me a spoil sport. They're like, it looks dark. But what do you mean? Look at the shadows in this thing. It looks terrible. Good God. Where is he? He's not even in a real place. Like, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Sure. I'm too old for Spider-Man. It's fine. We got to talk about the Moana live action. You caught this trailer. Believe it or not, I've not actually watched all the way through this. So me and viewers at home are going to watch it together.
Yeah. So the live action Moana is this summer. We finally get the full trailer. And this is another one that is going to print money. This is going to be $1 billion movie. This kind of looks amazing. Again, it's following the same story of the 2016 animated version. We have, of course, Dwayne Johnson playing Maui in real live action and a wig that looks not unlike my own hair. Moana herself is being played by Kathryn Newton, I believe, but she's not actually singing in the film. They're gonna have songs, but and I can't remember the girl's name who was in the original. She's still gonna be doing the songs, or they're gonna be using like the soundtrack, and the girl who's playing her is gonna be lip syncing. But it looks great. Like, the effects look really good. The stuff on the ocean. I'm a sucker for a Chosen One narrative, but it's just. They're on the ocean. They're fighting the coconuts. They have to restore the heart of I can't remember. Restore the heart of the island.
Nefertiti. That's the mummy.
Yeah, I had it. Then I lost it. Everything you love from that movie is from the animated film is in this, and it looks pretty amazing.
I think it doesn't. I'm too old for these. I think it doesn't look that good. I think people cooking the rock on the timeline were pretty apt, actually. I think the big stuff looks fun. Obviously, they're still putting a lot of it together. It's going to be CGI heavy. It's going to be lots of the volume. I know The Rock had to get this together quick. This is the last movie he's like big in, I think, right? Because he lost a bunch of weight after this. I think he wanted to do it for like his kids because they like Moana and Maui, and like he's still like it's like prime rock time to make a rock movie. So to make a Maui movie is rock, so much so that like they were willing to recast like the main girl because they were like, we recast Moana, but the Rock has to be the Rock. That's got to be what happens. Looks fine. It'll make money for sure. It'll make money. Disney I think is running out of live action adaptations pretty quickly. They're going to have to start pivoting to Pixar and Disney animated films soon, like CGI animated films soon. Stuff like Tangled has been like up in the air. So this will kind of hang out in there. But yeah, visual, like if you're like a lighting snob, if you're one of these film Twitter people, you're going to say this movie looks terrible. And if you're a child, you're going to say it's the coolest movie you've ever seen in your life. So Disney killing it, right? Yeah, like Moana live action. Looks weird. Looks fun, looks exactly like the original because that's kind of what it's supposed to be. That's Moana. God, I got to stop being so cynical, Andy. My God, I'm 2-0 here. I got one I'm excited to talk about.
Turn it around.
I know, I got one I'm excited to talk about because this movie looks like it's going to be bad, but I have faith. Maybe this will be good. This is the trailer for the end of Oak Street. Yeah, this is an odd one. This is kind of a teaser. This is coming from director David Robert Mitchell, who directed It Follows and Under the Silver Lake in 2018, which we covered on the show. Weird movie.
Weird.
Some people like it,
Super
some
weird.
people don't. Very strange film. It Follows, also very odd. He's not done a film since. He's just been sitting on his hands. So we're coming up on, nearly a decade now, and here we get the end of Oak Street from him. And also Bad Robot, produced by J.J. Abrams. Bad Robot's been in the news because apparently they're shutting down a lot. But the end of Oak Street seems to be a film that is more than meets the eye, no pun intended. The Platt family bands together to navigate their new surroundings after a cosmic event transports their suburban neighborhood to someplace unknown. It appears to be dinosaur times. Couldn't even tell you. I think it's just the street. I'm not even sure. Film stars Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor. Live action. This is not a weird animated movie. This is a live action drama. As the two parents, we got a couple of kids. Christian Convery, who notably was, God, what did I see him in? Cocaine Bear. He was the young kid in Cocaine Bear. He's young Hal and young Bill in The Monkey. I know, it's terrible. Like, yeah, that's who he is. He's the two kids in The Monkey. You remember that movie? He's the twins. Anyway, they get transported to like dinosaur times, I think, or something. And it seems like a bomb, and it seems like it wouldn't work, but also it's like from the guy who made some weird movies. So maybe? I don't know. I'm hopeful. Maybe something's happening here. What do you think, Andy?
It looks okay. It reminds me of the TV show / movie Land of the Lost, which is like similar premise. A family gets transported into like underground dinosaur times. Similar thing. I feel like that premise is too basic for this director, and I think there's probably a lot more going on. Like maybe that appears that that's where we are, but then there's something maybe more sinister or alien or something else going on kind of entirely. Like we really need another trailer to really discern that. So because of the director, I'll see it, but it's I'm a little skeptical as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And like I think it will probably be a bomb, but maybe there'll be some magic. There's a chance. There's a chance. What's next?
We got the full trailer for Supergirl just last week, and I was super excited about this. I was a little not a little shaky on the first teaser, but I think this looks a lot better. We get a lot more look at the kind of overall story and the feel of the movie. We find Millie Alcock of House of the Dragon fame playing Kara Zor-El, otherwise known as Supergirl. She's lonely. She has lost her entire family and her people. The big difference between her and Superman Clark is that Superman is sent to Earth as a child. Kara Zor-El grows up with her family and with the city. It's like the city escapes Krypton and they survive for like a decade, and then she's the only one who makes it out. So she has like the survivor's guild essentially of being the last survivor. But she ends up on this quest with a young woman who played by Eve Ridley. They're going after a bad guy who killed her father and who has also injured Crypto, and who will pass if they don't get him the remedy to something or other. So it's a bit of a revenge story along with Lone Wolf and Cub. We get a look at Jason Momoa's Lobo, which is kind of a fan favorite that people are looking forward to. He's kind of DC's version of Wolverine. So this trailer had a lot more action, some good music cues. We get just a little bit more feel of what the movie's going to be. I'm a lot more excited for this than I was. Zach, what do you think?
I was excited for Supergirl after Superman. And then we saw the first teaser, and I thought it looks pretty good. And then we saw like kind of the full like first trailer, and I was like, okay, it looks fine. And then this came out, and Andy was like, this trailer's way better. And I was like, yeah, all right, we'll see. And sure enough, by the 2 minutes, I was like, dang, it is a better trailer. Like, just goes to show, like, a good trailer cut can do wonders. Yeah, it's a much smaller story. It's much more intimate. We got to save the dog, man, which is like a solid comic book story, right? Like, Superman kind of gets at that a little bit. We're kind of echoing that here, like similar shapes, also like much more sincere because it has totally different meaning to this character, right? Crypto is not just like a pesky dog. She's like, he's kind of the everything. It's like her last bit of home. You know what I mean? So like having 3 days to have to team up with some kind of crazy somebody and go out and get him and got to do it fast or else it's going to like solid. That's a 3-act plot if I ever heard of one. Supergirl looks like fun. I'm optimistic. I hope Supergirl does good. I'm going to be pissed if it does poorly and somebody on the internet's like, ha, you make a movie with girls, you make everything woke and they're going to suck. Like, no. It's none of that now. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to Supergirl. It's going to be great. One more to talk about. We're going to talk about the trailer for the Backrooms. I keep wanting to say the Backrooms, and that's not it. It's just Backrooms from A24 and very young director Kane Parsons. We talked a little about the teaser for this, but now we have a full trailer. This is a very strange kind of, I'm going to say science fiction, fantasy, horror probably, film about a furniture store called Captain Clark's Ottoman Empire, run by Chiwetel Ejiofor, who discovers one night in the back of his store that there is a way to kind of slip in between realities into a space that he calls the Backrooms, this kind of like yellow tinted fluorescent light, endless cavernous space of hallways that goes on for miles. And the further you go, the stranger things become. He tells this to his therapist, played by Renata Ransva, who we just saw in Sentimental Value. She kind of doesn't believe it. He begins to go in and explore more. He brings in some people. And then for some reason, she ends up going in to look for him when things get very strange. This is from director Kane Parsons, very young. He's 20 now, 19 when he made the film. He's notable for kind of making Backrooms a thing on YouTube where it really got started. It was an internet meme, it's kind of horror space. He had developed a few features using Blender, an online software development thing that makes whatever 3D spaces, and he made these like handycam things. Anyway, all those videos are still on there. They're on YouTube under his channel Kane Pixels. I've been avoiding them. People have said, go watch them if you're excited about the movie. I'm like, I think I'll just go see the movie. And if I'm interested, I'll go check it out after. But anyway, prominent YouTuber, somehow lands a big deal with A24. Now we have a film coming. Looks creepy, looks strange. I like the handycam horror stuff. Andy, what do you think?
Man, this looks super creepy. I'm really into it. Like you said, the rooms just go on forever and they start to get really weird. Physics starts to change, like orientation starts. You see a couple of scenes where they're like, tied ropes around their waist so they don't get lost, but that's not going to end well. And then of course Renata Reinsva ends up going down there too good for, like, you don't get her without to just play a run-of-the-mill part. Like, you get her because you got to have something in the can for her to do. So great performance to come from her. I'm sure. I'm excited about it. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, I would not be as excited if it wasn't for who's in it. It's like if Kyle Edward Ball made Skinamarink. It's like if Skinamarink had two like incredible actors at the center of it. And it'd be like, well, how do I not go see this? Like, we've got really good talent signed on. It's coming from a studio that's kind of notable for producing good stuff like this, production studio. I don't know. Yeah, Backrooms looks fun. I hope it's a banger. Looks like a good time. Looking forward to seeing it. We got to talk about the drama. Are you ready? Need anything before we jump into it?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, whenever you're ready, please take it away.
The drama. So this did just come out last week. This is the new film by Norwegian writer-director Kristoffer Borgli, who previously directed Dream Scenario with Nick Cage, which we did see. Very strange, interesting movie, little bleak in the end, but definitely something that we remembered. The drama, his follow-up stars, of course, Zendaya and Robert Pattinson Emma and Charlie, and they are not quite newlyweds. They are like they're on their wedding week, and they're doing some taste. One night they're doing some wine tasting, food tasting with some friends. They have a little too much to drink, and they start a kind of truth or dare-esque game, asking, "What was the worst thing you've ever done?" And so they go around, the four of them, and Zendaya reveals something that she did not do, but that she thought about and planned, and then did not do. But this is so shocking a revelation that everyone starts to kind of look at her differently. This has been. You find this out early in the film, but it's been in the marketing. It has not been revealed. It's been very hush, and it's been a big secret. And so we will do our best not to spoil on this show as well. But this begins to change everything. Robert Pattinson begins to kind of question, like, who is this person that I'm marrying? And he starts to become really paranoid because it's kind of surrounding an act of violence. And so he becomes really paranoid. The other, their friends that are there, Rachel, played by Alana Haim, and Mike, played by Mamoudou Athie, who we loved in Poor Things. It's becomes a gossip train. They begin kind of telling other people. It kind of gets around a little bit. It's a real interesting setup. This also makes it difficult to talk about the film, but it's a film of ideas because it's about a number of things that are going on specifically in our country. Robert Pattinson is playing a British character, and him not being from America, I think affects things a little bit itself. It's about cancel culture. It's about thought policing. It's about kind of moralizing and the way people like to get on the high horse. And it's like I said, there's lots going on. It's also very funny. Like, it's a dark comedy. I was laughing all the way through it. Saw it with a small crowd. Really enjoyed this. It's a lot of fun. But also very controversial in some ways. So, Zach, what'd you think?
I like the drama. The drama is weird. And it's weird, kind of like Kristoffer Borgli's last film. Oh, hold on. Boom. Can you hear me now? Yeah?
I can.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I like the drama. And the drama is weird, like Kristoffer Borgli's last film, Dream Scenario, which I know you mentioned. But that film, like, I think the reason that really didn't work, Dream Scenario really didn't work, outside of its kind of odd shape, is because its character at the center of it, Nicolas Cage, is kind of unlikable. And slowly over the course of that movie, you start to like him less and less. And funnily enough, this movie kind of pulls that same trick. Zendaya's character is very cool at first, and then you realize something in Act 1 that kind of changes your opinion of her. But you've got Pattinson there, who kind of is the audience's buffer, who is like this kind of character in the middle of this thing she's done and us, who is determining whether or not we continue with the wedding or not. Do we still want to go get photos, or should we call the parents and call this whole thing off? Is this character still good to me? Am I, despite having heard and found out this information about them, do I still like them in the same way? Are they still valid in the same way? Do they still represent goodness in some way to me, or has that changed? That's what's going on in the drama. And like, interestingly enough, the drama part, the gossip part, is kind of the B plot. It's kind of the hat on the hat, like the people talking and whispers behind everything. Like, it's less like Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream and more kind of a character study of people and how they act. And this is brilliantly represented by our cast. Yeah, Pattinson is wonderful as Charlie. A role that like normally he would not take, which is funny because he's married in reality to Suki Waterhouse. I think they have 1 or 2 kids now. And like, people say in interviews, he's like a total softie and not at all like the characters he often plays, who are like weird little freaks, right? Or like doing big voices in the new Hayao Miyazaki movie. This seems to be maybe a little bit more like how he is in reality, kind of this soft, meek guy who's funny and like is fixing his hair all the time, right? And looks at a lot of art. Zendaya, meanwhile, is playing a toned down character as well, very down to earth, very grounded, somebody who's got a bit of a past, but and a bit of anxiety as well. Alana Haim is in this movie, which is weird. I haven't seen her outside of a Paul Thomas Anderson movie that I know of. And she actually has quite a role as Zendaya's maid of honor and kind of best friend in the movie, who very much stands apart from this information when she finds out what Zendaya has done. And then, like you said, Mamoudou Athie, who's really wonderful as Mike, like as a friend and supportive, but also is married to Rachel, Alana Haim's character, so he kind of goes with what she says. The 4 of them, like, really are tremendous in a movie where you wouldn't expect people to be tremendous, but like they're going deeper into the roles than you would typically expect in like a rom-com. I don't know, it's got all the shape of a rom-com, but it's played like big drama, and it really works for a script that's odd and, like you said, very affecting, with subject matter that is very immediate to where we are in our world right now, and is quite violent at times.
Yeah, like I said, it's complicated about what it is about. So I would speak in very broad strokes. It's kind of about things that are uniquely American, both things that are American obsessions, but also American anxieties. Like I said, uniquely an American take. It's also, I think, a lot about like just the performative nature of life. Like I said, they're still going, despite the reservations, that this wedding is still happening, and it honestly feels like there is no choice but to go through with it. It's like, well, the flights have been made, everything's been ordered, people are arriving in 2 days. We couldn't possibly call it off, and so everyone's just kind of forcing themselves to go through this, whether they think it's the right thing or not. Which it's, like I said, it brings both a lot of drama, but also a lot of questions. I did want to say a little bit about the controversy. There are some people who are refusing to see this movie. The film critic Grace Randolph, who I cannot stand and who cannot take anything even remotely controversial, said
noted enemy of the show, Grace Randolph.
Yeah, noted villain and nemesis, Grace Randolph. Well, it's like that's your job, but yeah. I mean, other people. So depending on that, because someone asked me about recommendations, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I know you will, but he was asking about his wife, and I was like, I don't know, she may not be okay because of a number of reasons. So if you're unsure, you might want to look it up for yourself. I don't think it's that big of a spoiler. I think they probably should have included it in the marketing, because then it's more about what the movie's about. But just to say, there is some controversy surrounding the movie.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it wasn't for what's going on here, like, it'd just be a movie about gossip, and there's plenty of rom-coms about that, right? Like, the event is a lightning rod in the middle of this movie, and it would be silly to say that that's like, I don't know, like damning or like a terrible part of it, because that's kind of so much of what makes it work. Like, and yeah, the conversation the film has between its characters and its audience and how you feel about what she's done is so much a part of the movie, right? To me, I watched this and I like, they get through explaining what she did, and I was like, oh, that's not like anything bad. That doesn't seem that bad to me. And other people are like horrified, right? And I've talked to people who've seen the film who feel differently than I feel about it. So like, that's a big part of it. And like, it's a shame that like the actual inciting thing that the fictional character in the fictional film that we're talking about did is so troubling for some folks. But I look, I get it. It's not nothing. The thing is a thing for sure. It's a thing, and I shouldn't act like it's not a thing. But it's so weird to try to talk about this without getting into it. There's a spoiler cast version of this movie. It's the best podcast you've ever heard in your life.
For sure. I did want to talk about some of like the directing style and cinematography of Kristoffer Borgli is really interesting, because he, like Dream Scenario, he puts together a number of kind of dream or dream-esque sequences where people are envisioning certain things, and they'll be really quick cuts, but it kind of part of how he portrays what the characters are thinking are in these kind of daydreams or actual dreams scenarios that he creates. What in the middle of conversation, it'll cut through it a lot. There's a lot of that. A lot of it's humorous, a lot of it's more serious, but it's a really kind of interesting thing. Like, this movie moves. It's not very long. It's only an hour and 45 minutes, but the pacing is really good. It's just constantly flowing.
Yeah, the editing really is outstanding. I really hope Kristoffer Borgli never tries to tackle a time travel movie, because Dream Scenario and this film both leap through place and time like water down a creek or something, man. Like, he will just jump all over the place. Like, and when you're watching it, it's pretty seamless. You don't think about it too much. If a character mentions, hey, remember that time we did this? And then it cuts to another scene of them doing something, you know in your head that's a flashback. But he uses that like it's language. Like, he will just cut between scenes like so quickly. You don't need an establishing shot. You already know what you're seeing. And it kind of makes for a really smooth viewing experience, like in a way that not many editors try to tackle. And like Dream Scenario and this film both do that. So it's very intentional. And it kind of works really good. Nobody cuts movies quite like these are cut. So yeah, keep an eye out when you watch the drama for like just how quickly it'll bounce between scenes. And before you know it, I don't know, you get sucked into the film. Also, yeah, I know Andy mentioned already, very funny. Very funny movie, like way funnier than anybody is selling it. I wish A24 had leaned into the comedy a little bit more, but I guess when you just go for something called the drama, you understand that that's kind of implied. But a very funny film. I've been ripping jokes from this movie for the past week. Like, it's really solid, very cynical, very dark, very funny. Any other thoughts or recommendations?
Yeah, I think it's important to point out it's not really it's not a rom-com at all. I would think it's a movie about characters right before a wedding, but it is more of a drama. It is very funny for a number of reasons. It's a very it's a dark comedy. It's very dark in places, but it's not your typical kind of when you think of a rom-com of something kind of lighthearted and silly and funny. It is not that kind of film at all.
Yes, if it had come out in the 2000s, it would have been like a dark and twisted rom-com from director Kristoffer Borgli or something. Like, yeah, no, it's not traditional in any means. It's almost got the shape of one. A little different. It's the drama. Andy, would you recommend the drama?
Yeah, I would. I think one of the first great films of the year. Again, I can't reveal the premise, but our leads are really good. Zendaya, Robert Pattinson, and it's a movie about thoughts and ideas. It'll stir up a lot of great conversation and controversy about things happening currently in our country and around the world. In some instances, a lot of fun, very funny, very dark in some places as well. But highly recommend.
Yeah, I'd recommend it as well. It's odd for sure, but if I'm ever I don't know, at a friend's house or something and they got a Blu-ray on, and I'm like, oh, it's this. I'm like, oh, the drama. I'm like, whoa, hold on, let me sit down and watch 10 minutes of this. Like, it is odd and it's strange, but it's good, man. And the people in it are good, and the people who made it are good. I think it's totally worth it. Don't worry too much about the inciting event. To me, it's a big deal. I should stop saying it's not a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, we should move on. We should move on to the next thing. We got one more film to talk about. Andy covered this while I was away. I didn't get a chance to watch it. We're going to talk about it. Andy, please, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. I think they changed the title of this a number of times. But this is the follow-up to 2019's Ready or Not, which starred Samara Weaving as a bride who discovers on her wedding night that she's part of this big cult family who has this deadly game of hide and seek. In the first film, she survives the night and kind of lifts this curse. But because of that, some more people come in and she basically has to do the whole thing over again. Elijah Wood shows up in a great suit, and he's having a really good time. Basically says she's got to play the game again. And she said, no, I refuse. You can kill me no matter what. And then they bring out her sister, her played by Kathryn Newton, say, well, if you don't play, then we're going to hurt her. So they end up having to work together in the same game of hide and seek where she gets a head start and everyone else tries to hunt her. Not deadliest cat, deadliest game. What's the story?
Kind of deadliest catch. Yeah, no, in a way.
I'm butchering it.
No,
but this has a great cast. David Cronenberg is in this. He is the head of this very sinister, highly powered household. Not in it for very long, but we have a stellar cast, of course. Samara Weaving, Kathryn Newton, Elijah Wood. Also stars Sarah Michelle-Gellar, Nestor Carbonell, and others. So this doesn't really work as good as the first one did. It's still a lot of fun. It suffers from setup fatigue. It takes us all of Act 1 to get to the game of hide and seek, which we know is coming. We know that this is because we've already seen the first one. We know what happens. Takes, again, all of Act 1 to get there. We finally meet up with Kathryn Newton, and the rules are explained. There's a little bit too much exposition. Elijah Wood has to talk about all these rules and all these things, and because of the bylaws of this and that, and it's talk, and it's let's go, let's get to the action. The action eventually starts. It's okay. It's a little fun. Sarah Michelle-Gellar's a lot of fun. She gets a really great, obviously, callback to Buffy in one scene. But it's a little too long. It's an hour and 45 minutes, kind of drags in the middle. The action isn't nearly as good as the first one. It has kind of a slow ending instead of the first one ends in a big action scene. This one doesn't have a big action scene. It's kind of a more cult stuff. And so it wasn't quite as exciting. I think Samara Weaving is great. Again, a very physical actor, and she gets to do a lot of that. Her and Kathryn Newton get covered in blood throughout the whole movie. There's a couple of good action sequences set to music. But but it wasn't quite as good as the first one. I don't think it's as efficient as that movie was. And also, I think it's just been too long. It's been 7 years. And you have, I think, 2 windows. You either need to do the sequel in the first 3 to 5 years, or you wait and do one in like 15 to 20 years. You do a legacy thing and like bring her and her daughter have to work together. So this is in that middle ground where it just doesn't quite work as well. Or Sarah Michelle-Gellar isn't given enough to do. She's kind of wasted in this movie. It's doing okay at the box office. The first one was a big hit, made I think about $70 million on a pretty small budget, and this one costs more and is just kind of doing okay. So I was kind of down the middle about it.
I was so disappointed when you told me that you were not as into this as I'd hoped, because you saw it before I had the chance to. I ended up not seeing it. But I enjoyed the first one so much. 2019's, Ready or Not, from Radio Silence directors. I didn't know a lot about them back then. And just seeing the trailer for Ready or Not, I was like, yeah, it's just to survive the night with like a bride, right? Like just start with the final girl and she's got to make it, but surprise, she's got gumption and a shotgun and she's going to do it. Like, I just figured it was going to be some bloody 90 minutes, and it was surprisingly fun. Like, that first movie is actually really solid, and you can see that in the work that's come since. Radio Silence booked Scream 5 and 6. They did Abigail, right? Which I know we didn't see for the show, but a lot of people really liked. But I heard Abigail kind of has the same problem this one does. It takes 45 minutes to get to what you see in the trailer. And you're sitting there for the first act of the movie, like, move it along, get to the point, get with the program. And coming 7 years after the first film, it makes sense they got to set it up, especially for people who may not have seen it, right? But that's a shame, because I think that first film is subversive in what would otherwise be expected to be kind of a lame horror movie. And it sounds like this one is just kind of not that. It kind of just ends up being lamer than subversive.
Yeah, like I said, it's the same premise, but with less action. It's less efficient. It's longer, but not any better. We have to take, the setup is so long. It takes us so long to get there. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, oh, now we're getting in Act 2. We are starting the hide and seek game, and it's like, what are we doing? Because the beginning she's in a hospital. She's talking to the cops, and then people are still trying to play the game. She has to escape out of there. The great Kevin Durand, who is he's a motion capture artist who may have seen in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. He's in this briefly. It's funny because you can sort of see him doing a little bit of the ape stuff when he walks. But yeah, it's just it needed to be more efficient. Needed to be another 90 minutes, and just needed to be more fun. You got to ramp up if you're doing a sequel. You got to have more action. It's got to be more over the top. Her and her sister are estranged, and they have their very difficult relationship that slowly gets mended over the course of the thing. That kind of doesn't work for me, or just like feels. I was like, oh, you're doing the tragic estranged sister to best friends trope, and it's just it doesn't really work. It's not very convincing.
Yeah, the bride didn't have a lot of like bat lore in the first movie. Like she lit, like, everybody's about as surface as you can be on purpose. Like, I think that's what that movie does well. It's part of the reason those guys ended up booking Scream, because they were kind of riffing on a formula. And here they're kind of doing that too, right? It's a little like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. First one you got Leatherface, now you got the whole family, right? Everyone's coming over for dinner. But it just sounds like it doesn't get over the top in the way it needs to be. I wanted to ask about Kathryn Newton. I know we like Samara Weaving around here just fine. Kathryn Newton's a great follow on Twitter. Fun, at least. Is she a little lukewarm? Lisa Frankenstein was so good, and I try to tell people to check that movie out. Yeah,
a scream queen in her own right, Kathryn Newton. I think she's fine. Like I think the sister, they act well together. I think just like what their plot lines just aren't super convincing. I think she has a lot of fun. They, of course, like, she doesn't want to have anything to do with her sister, but they have to work together to survive. It's that sort of thing. It's supposed to pull on your heartstrings, kind of just doesn't work. I can't remember the name of the movie, but Samara Weaving was in a horror movie where she couldn't talk and she had to like survive out in the woods. It was on Shudder, and that movie was incredibly physical. Like, she's on the ground a lot, and like, it's all very physical acting. So Samara Weaving brings that to this as well, because she's like injured and impaled and like thrown around a lot, and she brings a very physical presence to that. I think that's probably the highlight. And Kathryn Newton like can do horror as well.
Azrael is the name of that movie, which is
Azrael.
I did not end up watching that, but a few people wrote in and told me I should check out Azrael. It's a good movie. Maybe we'll cover that at some point. I want to know what Radio Silence is doing next. Oh, they're doing The Mummy. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're doing The Mummy. That's what they're doing. Not Lee Cronin's The Mummy. They're doing The Mummy 4 with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. Like, they've been talking about getting that keyed up.
Oh, right.
That's what they're doing.
Wow.
They're taking a run at a Universal monster movie. I mean, you watched this. I know you saw the last 2 Scream movies. You missed Abigail. You saw the first Ready or Not. What do you think? Good fits? Weird? I mean...
Of Ready or Not 2?
Well, yeah, because
Or
they're
The
going to be
Mummy.
doing The Mummy. So...
Yeah, I mean, the Mummy seems like... I mean, it's in line with it. You know, it's kind of a horror comedy, which that movie generally is. It's a lighthearted adventure film. I think that could work. They got to bring more juice to it. Like, this movie's lacking some sauce.
That's a bummer. Yeah, and I don't know. Just didn't got it in the straights. Not enough action. Not enough something, huh?
Yeah, it's too long. Not enough action. Gets slow in part. Takes too long to get going.
Bummer.
Has a weird non-climactic ending as well.
Well, I hope it doesn't set up for a sequel because I don't think it's getting one.
Yeah, I would say if you're interested in this, save it for streaming.
Yeah, all right, save it for streaming. You heard it here first, folks. Man, that's Off Script, episode 331. I almost said 370 something. Episode 331 Off Script, done and dusted. What are we watching next week, Andy?
So next week's a little weird. Not a whole lot of releases. We're going to be taking a look at Exit 8, which is kind of a sci-fi film based on a video game similar to Backrooms, where someone's kind of trapped in a loop that they have to get out of. That's going to be a theatrical release. And then we're also going to be taking a look at Crime 101, which is an action movie that came out maybe about a month ago or so. That's going to be on Amazon Prime, starring Barry Keoghan and Chris Hemsworth. I'll get there. Chris Hemsworth is the lead in that. I had heard negative things and then kind of heard that from some people. It's like, no, you should check it out. There's definitely some stuff worth seeing. So those are the two. Some FYI releases. The actual rom-com You, Me, and Tuscany comes out this Friday. That stars Halle Bailey and Regé Jean Page. The story is in the title. And then also wanted to alert people to The Boys season 5 starts tomorrow. If you're catching up, we definitely need to do TV Corner. Lots of TV stuff coming out. I'm in the middle of Invincible, loving that show as well.
Yeah, big TV Corner coming. So catch up on Invincible and keep an eye for The Boys if you want to keep up with what Andy's watching. If you enjoyed the show today, the best way to keep up with us here on Off Script is just subscribe to this show. Subscribe on YouTube. We're posting new content nearly daily, man. The YouTube channel is taking off like a rocket ship. You got to come catch that tiger by the tail. I don't know what I'm saying. We're uploading stuff on YouTube all the time. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We got a website, offscriptfilmreview.com. You can write us direct correspondence, mail at offscriptfilmreview.com. Right into the show. The show mailbag. We'll read your review live on the air, probably. You can check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartMedia, all the usual audio places if you want to take us on the go. This show makes for a great podcast. You do not have to have the trailer stuff, even though occasionally I do say, look at the thing on the screen. It's fine. It's fine. It's a visual medium, but it's an audio medium. You can check us out over there. And social media, website, YouTube, subscribe, follow, like, comment, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. From all of us at Off Script, the home of Bold Cinema, I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.